skill acquisition. I always felt that it was that mostly than anything else. I don't know why it felt like that to me, but it was skill acquisition at the end of the day.
Yep.
Like it really made you hone in on the things that make up the components of managing the kettlebell really, really well. And it gives you a purpose. It gives you questions to ask if you're not doing it well, and many components to consider outside of just the lift. You're not just getting it done anymore. You're owning it. You're doing it with relative perfection if you can. And I think that as a clinician, you have to experience that yourself. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if we've covered this in another podcast or not, but I absolutely believe that you have to be able to do everything you ask your clients to do. And the only way, the reason for that is because you have to be able to have some point of reference on what you're cueing or what you expect them to look like, what they should feel. You should be able to speak to that. And so when you go through like these skill acquisition, experiences with the kettlebell, which you could do with the barbell for sure, with Olympic lifting and whatnot, it's a sport. But I really felt that my transition from the barbell to a kettlebell really, honed that for me.
Well, let me ask you a question then. How long did it take you to train for that SFG?
It took me 8 months. I was weak as shit over my head. I'm not gonna lie to you. Baseball player, taboo to go over your head. I was like right-handed. I could barely push a 20-kilo belt, just 44 pounds, weak as all could be. Right. Left arm was like barely pushing the 16. I could squat whatever you want me to, but then my upper body is like this little noodle system.
Perfect.
It's insane.
How long did it take you, Russ?
I was a strong 8 months. It was maybe 9 months. Yeah, it was 4 to 5 training days a week.
So
because he didn't move well.
Well,
it's the exact opposite.
Tony, let's ask Tony here. Tony, how long did it take you?
I'm still working on it.
Still working on it. We're in continuation.
That was a leading question.
Yeah, leading question. But so my point here is that I think the biggest thing I took away from that, and that the biggest piece that I want our clinicians to take away from that when they do this, is the time it takes for this skill acquisition, but also this physiological adaptation.
Yeah.
You see somebody for a 6-week time period, you really can't expect that much to happen in that time period, right? Where neurological changes are happening in that time period. What I want people to see is that it actually takes 8 months for this shit to change. For you to press 53 pounds over your head, going from 35 to 53.
72 now.
72 now is great, but I was sticking with your 8 months.
Thank you, appreciate
that 8 months to that 20-pound change took you 8 months.
Well, right. Yes. Speaking of adaptation, I had a
barely made it.
I had a doctor friend that told me I had an elite UFC fighter. He was a champ of 2 times over, and the best in the world at one time, the absolute best in the world. And he fractured his back, and I was getting him back to kettlebell swings, and the doctor, and he had a great place in his heart. His heart was, Rush, you got to be really careful with kettlebell swings. He fractured his spine. And I kind of calmly said, I know. He's going to get back to beating the shit out of people. Just let that sink in. He fractured his back. What are we going to do in training to prepare him to train hard to beat another man at a sport that's, I'm not going to say to the death, that sounds weird, but it's going to be till that other guy submits. And so, when we think about a kettlebell swing, it's fortifying the body for war. So I don't do kettlebell swings with, all of my people. But if they're going to fortify their body for war, if it's a lacrosse athlete, a football athlete, a soccer athlete, a baseball athlete, we're going to fortify for war. They're going to try and crush that ball when it comes over the plate. If they're going to crush it, they should be able to crush a 35 or 45, 55-pound bell with a good swing.